William, how much are you and the team looking forward to having fans back at Royal Ascot and the meeting getting underway?
I think it's great to get crowds back. It's fantastic.
Obviously, it was a very different Royal Ascot 12 months ago. This is, in many ways, a different Royal Ascot as well, because they've added races to the programme. Are you pleased to see those races included?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think it's. I think what's nice about it is that we're rolling on into the evening as opposed to going earlier. So at least we can all enjoy a bit of lunch and relax before racing begins.
Quite right. Let's go through, if we can, some of your runners. And obviously, I guess the horse that lots of people will be looking forward to seeing in action is Mohaafeth after he was taken out of the Derby. When you look ahead to Royal Ascot, are you hopeful that the ground will come your way and that we can see the real Mohaafeth on the day?
Well, it wouldn't be very helpful if it was soft, let's put it that way. Yeah. But if it's fastish ground, then hopefully you'll see the horse that we see.
How tough a decision was it at Epsom?
Very. It's the English Derby. It's the biggest race in a trainer's season, and but I was pretty adamant not to run on slow ground. So obviously it got drier as the day went on. I'd have much preferred to have made the decision earlier, but it put doubt in my mind. But I'm sure, well, no one will ever know whether it was the right decision or the wrong one, but I wanted to give the horse every chance, and fortunately his owner was very kind to back me.
People saw your interview with Matt actually on the day and said you were quite emotional during it. I suppose that sums up the sort of importance of that race in many ways, and gave us a really good insight into just how tough that whole process was.
Well, when you buy a sort of mile and a quarter mile type horse as a yearling, and it's got a good pedigree, you immediately think Derby, and that's what we're all in it for, or filly at the Oaks. And when you buy a 2-year-old, a sharp one, you're thinking Ascot, because that's the way we're made. We're all eternal optimists, really. And it's only when you've been doing it a long time that you become a realist or even a pessimist. But most of us go into it as optimists, and we're always looking for, the next star. And some of us are battered into submission like me, and some of us, like your uncle, is enthusiastic to the end, and good on him. And we need people like that. Yeah. And why the Coronation Cup, although we got beaten, William Muir's been at it for 30 odd years. He's a huge enthusiastic, he's a racing man through and through. And for him to win the Coronation Cup was fantastic. Although I was very disappointed at the time that we didn't, I was absolutely thrilled. It's one for a good guy. He's been at it a long time, and he is an enthusiast.
Yeah, I think that sentence there sums up why you're such a popular man, really. And I know
you're very sweet.
I know you think I'm taking the mickey, but it's true. How good do you think Mohaafeth is?
Well, he's impressed me. He's got better. Each run this year has been better, and I think he's come on from Newmarket. But we all got very carried away, all of us, including me, by the way he won. But you can pick holes in that performance in the opposition. But it was very stylish, but it was only a listed race. I mean, we were talking about the Derby, him being single figures for the Derby. It's a Group 1 race, but I think he's got potential. He's got a very good pedigree. He's bred to be a good horse, and he's on the way to being one. So Ascot will be an important stepping stone. And quite frankly, if he can't win at Ascot, then he wasn't going to win the Derby. So
Hampton Court's the race you're going for?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure he's a guaranteed strong stayer, and the Derby was won by stayers, so he'll go for the mile and a quarter race. Yeah.
And Alenquer, is he going to be at Royal Ascot? Will he line up in the?
We very much hope so. He's in great form. He's working nicely. He had a little bit of a blip, which meant he couldn't run in the English Derby, and we were strongly thinking about supplementing him for that. But he's in good form now, and he's got a couple more bits of work to do. I think his owners and management are toying with the idea of supplementing for the Irish Derby, but the King Edward looks the logical race to me.
His form couldn't have taken any more of a boost, could it? Given that he's already beaten the Derby winner this year.
We all thought at the time that the Sandown Trial was a really, really good race, and then Charlie's two horses came out, and the Derby winner ran at Lingfield and ran poorly, and ran second, not poorly, but he ran second, and the other horse, Yabir, went to Chester and got stuffed. So it didn't look a good race. Then Lone Eagle came out and won, and Charlie won the Derby with him.
Good luck with those two. What about a day? Will we see him at Royal Ascot, or will he be one that needs the rain to come?
He definitely needs rain. I won't run him on. The word soft has to be in the description for him to run. So it's not looking likely at the moment, but who knows?
He looks fantastic. I just saw him in his box.
Oh really? You've had a walk round?
Maureen gave me permission. William.
I'm not really allowed to walk around the yard at this time of year, but yeah, no, he's in great form. He worked yesterday and worked beautifully.
Yeah.
So, and he's not a good worker, but he looked quite good. So we think he's in good shape. So.
Do you have a plan B if Ascot doesn't get the weather that you
want?
want?
The Eclipse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he needs a mile and a quarter, go right-handed. And even you, as an intelligent young man like you, could work that out, that the races are fairly easy to find.
Okay, well, good luck with him. Just a word on that ride from Tom Marquand in Australia. I'm sure you've spoken about it before, but I thought that was the making of a jockey from the sort of Premiership into the Champions League, what he did that day.
I couldn't agree with you more. I thought it was exceptional. And he just made the moves absolutely at the right time. And of course, he has lots and lots of faith in the horse. And the horse is one of those that you can ask him for an injection of speed at any stage of the race, and then he'll come back to him. And that's the key. Most horses that make a bit of a dash in the race sets the horse alight, but it didn't set him alight. So he was absolutely superb. And if you watch the drone of the race, so the camera above the horses, every single move, if you were going to say, go now, he went. Yeah. And it was sublime.
Yeah, it really was. And that good form has carried on into the great, the British flat season as well. And he's teamed up with plenty of good horses, but it's Jim Crowley who will ride Sheikh Hamdan's at Royal Ascot. And will he be riding Montafam at Royal Ascot in the Hunt Cup? He was second in it last year.
Yeah, he might run. He's 109. I think that's pretty steep for the Hunt Cup. We'll leave him in. He's in at York at the weekend. But he needs rain, really. He's a better horse with rain. So he'll run at York if it rains. If it doesn't, he'll go to Ascot. Sacred
is dropping back in trip after the Guineas. The Commonwealth Cup is the route you're going down. What did you make of her Guineas run? Was it simple as she didn't stay? I think so. I hope so. I don't really want to go back to 6. I'd love to run in a jersey, but she's got a penalty, and I've been training her all spring to stay, and she's so beautifully relaxed, and I know that we're starting to fire her up now. She's got so much natural speed that she'll probably end up in the Commonwealth. She's a pretty good filly when she's on song. Can I just ask you to explain that in a slightly more technical detail if you can, because I say to people, and I think it's really interesting because you say you've been training her to stay, and now she's going to drop back to 6 furlongs. How much of an inconvenience is that for the horse's preparation? I mean, I don't know what the different routine is. Well, she has natural speed, but when they're sprinting, they know their game, they know their business. So all spring we were just trying to get her to relax, to breathe properly. Not that she has a problem with her wind, but she's just to breathe and to get into a good rhythm. And then in the Nell Gwyn, she was lovely because she went through the field. It wasn't actually a great race. I mean, Saffron Beach is a good filly, but it wasn't as strong as the Fred Darling. But she won really comfortably and then pricked her lugs at the end, clearly got the trip well. And now we're bringing him back and it's go, go, go. And, she's got to be in the zone mentally as well as physically. So I think she's in good shape, but she has to have, like the road, if there's any cut in the ground, she won't be any good. I remember coming here 12 months ago, and the way you spoke about her, I've not really heard you speak about a horse like that for a while. I'm doing too much of that at the moment. I probably need to stop. But I thought she would win at Royal Ascot. I couldn't believe she finished second. And Capanelli runs again. Capanelli runs again in the Commonwealth Cup. So we'll see. A rematch. Il Arab, you've done a brilliant job with Il Arab. and I thought he was so good at York. What did you make of that performance, albeit in a handicap? He's
Well,
stepping
yeah,
out.
here we go. So this is another example, a bit like Mohaafeth. Ilarab he's doing really well, and he looked like he stayed well. So that's an avenue where we might find a bit of improvement. But he's 111 now, so he's not handicapped. So he's going to go possibly for the Hardwick. He's in at York at the weekend in a 1.5 mile race. I fancy he just always lugs a bit to the left, so I fancy right-handed might be complicated. When he won right-handed last year at Beverley, he ran across the track a bit. So, you know, I'm not sure Ascot's the right place.
Can you do anything to negate that?
Not really.
There's no equipment.
And the way we're going with our draws, so we'll be drawn 12 of 12 or 14 of 14, and then we're snookered. But look, he's in good form. He wants a bit of cut in the ground. I think going from handicap to Group 2 is hard, but I can't see much else on the horizon bar the race at York. So we'll just feel our way with him. But he's a really nice, genuine horse, and you know he really should be going listed Group 3. But
instinctively, do you think Group 2 is his level, or a bit above his level, or
I don't
below his level?
I don't know really, because he surprised me every step of the way. Every time we've run him, he's run better. So, you know, I don't think we got to the bottom of him at all really. And he's just a very, very genuine, resolute horse.
Sea Carrots is a horse that at the start of the season you were talking favourably about. How would you sum up her season to date?
Messed up by the trainer probably. Should have won first time. That was my fault because I asked James to teach her something. I said don't hook her to the outside up the straight, you know, because she might be going for a better race quite soon, so get her in amongst them. And of course she didn't win, but she nearly did. And then we ran a maiden in a listed. She ran behind Mystery Angel in the Pretty Polly. And then we ran into one at Yarmouth of Harry Herbert's Highclere horse of Roger Varian's, who did us at Yarmouth. So she's still a maiden, God knows how. But I really quite fancy running her in the Ribblesdale. I think she's entitled to go.
What is it about her that sets her apart? Because
well, she's a good mover. She's an attractive filly. She's a full sister to Al-Arsi. And she, you know, she's quite a useful racehorse, but she hasn't won a race yet. But she's going to win a race. That's not going to be a problem.
Will it be the Ribblesdale?
I would doubt it, but I'm going to try anyway, or we'll see what happens. But I think Roger's horse got 92. There you go. Tell me how that works, Ollie. So Roger's got 92, gave me £5 and beat us a length and a half, and I'm 97. So if you can explain that one to me, then you're a better man. If you can't
work it out, I definitely can't work it out.
So I would think Rogers has got a chance if it pitches up in a 1.5 mile handicap there.
Yeah, definitely. Just a couple final questions. I really appreciate your time, but how would you assess your handicap team at Ascot this year?
We'll have a few runners in the handicaps. We'll have one or two in the Hunt Cup, couple in the 1.6 mile race, Roberto Escobar and Favourite Moon, who's come back from Australia, although he might go for the 1.5 mile race. I want to get one in the Hunt Cup, but he won at Chelmsford last week called Cahill, not in the Hunt Cup, in the Britannia, but the handicap is only going to put him up 2, which means that he won't be high enough. They
never put them up high when you want them, do they? They always hike them up when you don't.
So he won't probably get in Cahill, which is a shame. But we'll have bits and bobs, and we've got one 2-year-old in the Windsor Castle called Second Wind, who's won his only 2 starts. So we've got a nice, fun week, quiet to start with, and then hopefully ending up with the one you've forgotten, Nahaarr, who runs in the Diamond Jubilee.
You're saving the best till last, William.
Is he Diamond Jubilee or Golden Jubilee?
It's Diamond, but he's actually entered in King's Stand and Diamond Jubilee. So what I was going to ask you is whether you were going to run him in the King's Stand or the Diamond Jubilee, but you've answered that. Last day.
Well, actually, it's quite interesting because asked permission from Sheikh Ahmed likes a 2-week gap between each run, and I've asked permission if we could consider doing both, because if there's a bit of cut in the ground on Tuesday, I would like to run him in the King's Stand,
Right.
and then back him up in the Diamond Jubilee. He's 5 years old. He's a mature horse. He looks absolutely fantastic. He's ready to go, and I'm sure he can take 2 races in 4 days or 5 days. So
Lots of horses do it.
yeah,
and do
especially
it well.
at that distance.
Yeah.
So I haven't ruled that out at all. But if it's good to firm on Tuesday, then he'll just wait for Saturday.
Do you look at that division this year more than perhaps in recent years and think this is a winnable area?
Well, obviously Batash is the strongest horse, but he hasn't run this year, and he had an accident at the farm in the winter. By all accounts, he's flying at the moment, but then he flies all the time, so he's getting a bit older, and I suppose if you're ever going to catch him out, it's there. Then there's Kevin Ryan's filly that won the Abbey, who's very good, Glass Slippers, if you remember her name.
I do, yeah.
And
Starman for Ed Walker.
well,
I
I think he's going 6, isn't he? I
Is
don't
he?
know. I don't know which one he's going for. He's a very good horse. I thought he beat us a little bit comfortably at York, but we did go again under my instruction round the houses. So, we're happy to take him on.
And just finally, can I get your thoughts on Al Arzi? I know you touched on it. I know you touched on it briefly. Delighted for Willie Muir. What is the plan with Al Arzi now on the back of that performance at Epsom?
Well, obviously we'll have a cut at the King George. Love to have a cut at the King George, and we may have a run beforehand, either in the Princess of Wales at Newmarket or possibly the Grand Prix de Saint-Cloud in France. But we both of those have good timing towards the King George. But France is a nightmare at the moment, although I hear that it's starting to open up. But it's been a nightmare to go to France, so that might be more tricky than it sounds. But we'll see. Can't keep going on. He's been up for a long time, and he's doing well physically, and he's enjoying it. So, yeah.
Do you think with crowds back at Ascot, it's the sort of beginning, you know, the government trial and what have you, 12,000, it's the sort of beginning of the end of what's been a nightmare 2 years for everyone all over the world, really?
Well, I'm not so sure, because the scientists seem to be running the country at the moment, and for those of us who think it's time we got on with our lives, we don't have much confidence that everything's going to open up on June the 21st. So, but they'll have to do it sometime and bite the bullet. Let's get on with it, for God's sake, and if you're frightened, keep out of the way. But we all need to get on with our lives.
Well said. Good luck at Ascot, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Ollie.